What is a Star Wars fan to do these days? How are we supposed to feel about Obi-Wan Kenobi? Are we supposed to be hesitant? Are we supposed to be cautiously optimistic? Or are we supposed to be full force there for whatever they give us? What does Disney really expect us to do this day and age with everything about the Disney that's come out, about the previous shows that they've given us, the quality or lack thereof? But what is a Star Wars fan supposed to do? And how do we go forward in this new era of Star Wars? Welcome back to Coffee on Korriban, and I've got a very special guest tonight. He's been on the channel before, but if it weren't for him, I wouldn't have a channel. So welcome to Korriban, Coach from Echo Base Network. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm sitting here hanging out with my little buddy here, and we're just getting ready.
Awesome. The real Obi-Wan, as some would
The
argue.
real 1977 12-inch Ben Kenobi in the house.
That looks so good. Well, first, I guess I wanted to get your opinion on Obi-Wan Kenobi. How are you feeling in general going into the show? I know we only got a couple days until it drops.
Well, man, I'll tell you, I'm excited about the show itself. When I see the trailer, when you're getting Hayden and Ewan's interviews and things like that. So, and I think what I'm most excited about is just the experience of watching the show with our YouTube community.
Right.
It's so much fun, whether the show's good or not, going through it, watching it as a community, talking about it as a community, having live stream shows like this, just everything that we do, dissecting it together, letting
Right.
people come on and talk about it, listening to other people's viewpoint. It gives us subject matter.
That's a very good point, especially as content creators. Like, we have
Yeah.
something to talk about, which is good.
And
but I know a lot of negative can come from that.
Sure.
Well.
We all grow during that time, and your videos get more views, and it's exciting. I mean, Nick and I get up about 1:38. Well, Nick's already awake, but I get up at 1:30 in the morning and go ahead and get the coffee ready and everything, and I sit and I watch. At 2:00, we're rolling, and it's not a live stream. It's a recorded video that we release on Patreon. And then Nick edits it, but we always do a post video reaction. And I'm really excited about this Friday because I'm going to wake up, do the same thing with Nick, but this time it's going to be a 2-hour premiere.
Right.
So from 2 to 4, we're recording. Then we're doing our post reaction video. By the time we get done, it'll be 5:00.
Right.
I wake up at 5:30 to go to work. So I'm literally going to leave Kenobi, go to work all day, go to my nephew's graduation that night, and I'm driving to the beach the next morning, 7-hour road trip.
When do you have time for editing?
Well, Nick, all right, so I do the majority of the editing on the channel, but Nick does all Patreon, watch party. He does all that stuff, and he does really good on it.
I got you. Well, that was like me with the Book of Boba Fett. I would try to go sleep as early as I could, which is usually around midnight. Wake up at 2:45, quickly get everything set up because this is my dining room table. I got to set all this up.
Your setup is looking good, though.
I'm trying. I'm really trying.
It looks good.
Yeah, and I just finished painting this a couple days ago.
That's awesome.
Which I think is really cool.
It really is.
But just wake up, set everything up, record it, watch it, the whole reaction, edit it, and then by the time I upload it, hope that it passes the Disney copyright stuff, and then go off to work.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a grind, but it was, I got into a rhythm by the end of Book of Boba Fett, and then that first week after the series ended, was kind of like, what do I do?
Sure.
I don't know what to do now.
Yeah.
Is every episode going to be on Fridays this time around?
No.
Okay.
They're going to be Wednesdays, like
Okay.
normal.
Just the first one is on
They
the
just moved the
Friday.
first one. Yeah.
I got you. All right. Well, let's say hello to some people in the chat real quick. We got Leia Rose. Here's
Hello,
a sip
Leia.
for you. Phil McCracken. Here's a sip for you.
Uncle Phil.
Strike. Here's a sip for you.
What up, Strike?
He says, can't stay, but have a great stream. That's the plan.
Easy peasy.
And we've got Dengar Renegade. Here's a sip for you.
Best name on YouTube.
I don't think I've ever seen you around here before. So if you're brand new, welcome to the channel.
He is
Here's an extra
I
special
love him,
sip for
man.
you.
And look at this picture, man. He's got the best picture.
That's a sick picture.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that very much. Pacific 414, here's a sip for you.
What up, Pacific?
All right. Oh, one more. Star Wars guys, here's a sip for you.
PJ
And Cobra Disney Jedi.
There
Here's
you
a
go.
sip for you.
There you go. What up, Cobra?
All right, I'm all caught up.
Right.
Anyway, so I know you said you're excited for the show, and kind of how I'm feeling is I'm very excited, not as enthusiastic as I'd like to be, and I think that boils down to if it's good, I'm there for it. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to pull whatever enjoyment out of it that I can. But if it's not good, I don't really care that much, and I hate being in that position. But I don't really care if it's bad. I should care.
Well, no, I don't think it's fair to say you should or shouldn't. I think man, that's a very interesting thought. You know, it's kind of an interesting thing because, you know, the last time I came on, or we actually talked on the phone, we were going through some garbage with the Book of Boba Fett and reaction, and Nick and I did not want to come out and make videos trashing the show.
Right.
But at the same time, we're going to be authentic and tell you what we really think. Yeah, a lot of people disagreed, which is totally fine. We're not trying to convince anybody to think like us, you know?
Right.
We just made a video. That's all we did. And there was like massive fallout, and it felt like as the show went on, more and more and more people started agreeing with us. Ironically, as the show went on, we thought it got kind of better.
Right.
but anyways, I still think the show was average at best. I think I would say that it was below average on the whole for a Star Wars show, entertainment, whatever you want to call it. We haven't had very many Star Wars shows, so it's hard to compare. But we went from chapter 16 in The Mandalorian, greatness, the end of chapter 2 or season 2, chapters 13 through 16 were some of the best Star Wars you could possibly get. We're riding high. We waited for a long time. Book of Boba Fett comes out. The same team is doing it with the inclusion of Rodriguez. And I thought it was a win-win. I thought it was a no-brainer. This is going to be a great, great thing. And it didn't turn out that way.
Right.
So I'm kind of tiptoeing into Kenobi a little bit because I felt that way maybe earlier. Maybe I care a little bit less too, but on the flip side of the coin, we're talking about two cornerstones for the Star Wars franchise in Vader and Kenobi. So the stakes are high with this one for me. Now, I'm not going to lose sleep if it's bad. You know, that's
kind of where I'm at right now.
I'm not going to be moping around at work. Oh, you know, I'm beyond that. But I really want this show because if they get this right, Coffee, Star Wars is back. That's the power of Star Wars. You know, if they really nail this and this is great, then it's like everybody's going to be talking about Star Wars. It's going to take over YouTube again. And right now we're in this, oh my gosh, it's about to come out. You got all these news reports coming out. You got all these leaks coming out. You've got all this, these photo shoots and interviews and things like that. And people are losing their minds. And like, you got a different opinion. You're getting ravaged online by people. And it's ugly. But this is indicative of the world that we live in today.
Absolutely. I don't know if you saw the video I did on that Time article or if you even read that
Mm-mm.
Time article that came out a few days ago.
I'm
The
not
whole
sure I
the
did.
whole
I don't think
premise
so.
of the article was, and this goes back to other people forcing their opinions onto you and
Yeah.
making sure you feel the certain way. It was titled something along the lines of, "It's time to give Hayden Christensen a second chance," or something, or to forgive him for the prequels, I think is how they worded it. And it was just written from the perspective of, come on, guys, we all know the prequels were terrible movies, right? We all know Hayden Christensen is the worst actor alive, right? It was
No
kind of like
way.
trying to force people to believe that. And some people believe that. Some people don't like the acting or the CGI or whatever. That's all valid. But the problem I had with the article was mainly that it was coming from that perspective of, unless you believe the way I do, you're wrong.
Yeah.
And it was clear in the article that the lady that wrote it was not a Star Wars fan. Didn't know. She called Anakin Obi-Wan's trainee, which is something you just don't really call him a trainee. Don't
You
do
lost
that,
all credibility right
right?
there.
And at the very end of the article, it said, I forget the exact quote. Hayden Christensen is notably a white man and thus representative of a demographic that is typically, they get second chances. And I was like, are you serious? And it was trying to contrast that with Rose Tico and Ray Palpatine, and how people didn't give their actresses a second chance, but Hayden Christensen does because he's a white man.
We're in an
I just
all-out culture war right now, and you
absolutely,
see it in Star Wars.
yeah,
But it's all over the place. It is,
right,
so you love disc golf like me.
yes.
Did you watch yesterday's final round of the OTB?
I wasn't able to catch it. I know Simon won.
All right. Do you know anything about the FPO?
No, I didn't watch. I rarely watch FPO. Hello, Actus Nero, and
All right.
yes, I believe it was an SJW.
So
Tell me about the FPO.
I'm just giving you the facts. I'm not even speaking my opinion on this. Okay, because I don't even really want to go here. You already know how I feel a lot about these things, but
Mm-hmm.
FPO final round, first place, Paige Pierce, who just released her engagement photographs to her girlfriend, which is that's fine. But second place is a trans woman named Natalie Ryan.
Hmm.
And Natalie can throw it like you.
See, I've always wondered. I honestly, I set up, you know my real name. I set up a YouTube
Sure.
channel called Tammany Ellen, and I was going to be, only online, a trans lady,
Yeah.
and sign up with my own PDGA number and play tournaments. My PDGA rating at one time was 984.
Oh wow.
That's what top 3 females
Yeah.
in the world number.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the experience, obviously, as a lot of those ladies.
So
But
this trans woman nearly won the tournament.
mhm.
But what I'm getting at is the chat during the live feed. Oh my god, you talking about, no matter your opinion on any of that
Mhm.
stuff, the chat was awful. They were deleting comments left and right. It got so ugly. We weren't even talking about disc golf in the chat. It became a whole nother thing, man.
Man.
And that again is indicative of the world you live in. Everybody tries to
Right.
force your thinking on them, on you. And yeah, it's
Right.
crazy. And just get ready. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse. All
And
this
everyone in
racial
the
stuff's
chat,
getting worse.
absolutely, and everyone in the chat that is not a disc golf fan or doesn't even know what disc golf is, I apologize, but this channel did start out as a disc golf channel. So
I've watched several of your old videos. So
they're funny.
do
They're
you know what
funny.
this is?
No, I've been out of the disc golf world actually for a while. I don't know what it is.
This is an AJ shirt, Avery Jenkins.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he has a new logo and everything.
Nobody. He's
Is
he's
the
had
old
this
one?
logo for
Oh,
over a decade.
I didn't even know. 6 Scale Mafia. I haven't seen you here before, but if this is your first time, a very heartfelt welcome to Korriban. There's a sip for you. Yeah, getting back to Book of Boba Fett. I think one thing, or not even Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi. One thing that I'm doing differently this time is I'm staying offline between episodes. I heard a lot of people talking about with Book of Boba Fett. I wish they just dropped these all at once so I'd have my own opinions. I wish I didn't, hear everyone else dogging on it, and it made me feel worse because there were legitimately episodes of Book of Boba Fett that I watched, I liked. I watched other people's reactions or streams talking about them where they didn't like them as much or outright hated those episodes, and it completely changed the way that I felt about those episodes. And so, I mean, it sounds really selfish to say like watch all my content, but I'm not going to watch anyone else's. But I'm really going to try to, limit who I watch
I understand.
during the run of Obi-Wan Kenobi to try to keep my opinions genuine and to myself. Because I do feel like everyone else does have an influence in that crowd mindset. If everyone else is feeling a certain way, you will start to gravitate towards that area because then you'll start thinking like, oh, I'm doing something wrong.
I get what you're saying. Me personally, and I know I'm not going to speak for Nick, but I bet he would say the same thing. I don't think any other content creators really have any influence on what we think. Pretty much, I don't watch a whole lot of YouTube anyways.
Right.
So like after I make the video, after we come out with our thoughts and reaction, if somebody has another take on it that I totally like, it's polar opposite from me, I'll check it out and listen just to kind of get the perspective. But then eventually I'll just check it out. I'll just check out, and I'll stop watching that perspective. Once I understand your perspective and I see the flip side, I kind of leave it alone there. What is up, Latino Slant?
Good to see you in the chat. But yeah, I get what you're saying. And I guess it also comes down to how confident are you in your opinions?
Well,
how much are you willing to stick to those opinions?
Nick just changes with the wind, and of course I'm kidding. Once Nick has an opinion, that's pretty much it. It's you can lock it in, baby. So we're but that's the good thing about all of this. I love when I could come out and say, you know what, guys, I changed my mind, or I was wrong about that, or whatever, or just have fun with stuff. Like so many people were coming after us with the Book of Boba Fett. So we've made a couple little funny like parody videos and like just to kind of pick a little more, just make a joke out of it. Just make it. We made like the funny Michael Jackson Thriller video where the Tuscans were dancing. Like that's funny. And if it set you off, that was not my intention. Maybe you need to do a little reflection.
Yeah, and the people that are not even fans, but the people that appreciate you for who you are in the Star Wars community and they appreciate your voice are not going to be blown and tossed by those joke videos you put out or a video that's contrary to the way that they feel. Like I know you in real life outside of YouTube, and just because you didn't like an episode that I really liked, I'm not that doesn't change it the way I feel.
No, and like there's
from the chaff, I guess.
If you go back 10 years ago or longer, there was a divide with Star Wars fans over the prequels and the sequels. There was a time when I loathed them. There was a time I made these comments before several years ago. I'm never going to watch them again outside of Revenge of the Sith. Well, let me tell you, my perspective changed. And now I love them. Now, do I think they're like A+? No.
Right.
But I love them. They don't have to be the greatest thing in cinema for me to love them. I love them. I cherish them.
And that's the exact way that I feel about what's the third one? The Last Jedi. After I watched the Matt Cave edit, which he took out all the bad parts, all the stuff that people didn't like, made Luke look a whole lot better. Took out the whole Canto Bight. He did a very extensive editing on The Last Jedi. and we did a watch party in my Discord, and I really liked it. And it got me thinking, there is a ton to like in the sequels. It's just so buried under all the baggage of the stuff that no one likes, or that many people don't like, that you don't care to look into that. So my opinion on that was changed, and actually the way that I view Ryan Johnson has changed a lot. I still don't think he did a good job, and I don't think he was the right man for the job, but I get a little bit of what he was trying to do. So my opinion on kind of the sequels as a whole changed. The Matt Cave edits, though, that part of it,
I hadn't watched his edit. I'm gonna have to
I
check that out.
recommend it. I recommend it. I'll have him send you the Last Jedi, and check that out. It's much more bearable. I actually liked it.
I have only seen that movie once.
Yeah, I had to until I watched his
Wait, no,
version.
I'm sorry. I was thinking about Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I only saw that one once. Anyway. Coffee on Korriban. I remember your last stream. I said I was really anxious, but that feeling has changed to a general excitement now that I'm not listening to other opinions.
There
Yeah,
you go.
and that's awesome. Just be as excited as you can. But if you're wanting to still be cautious, if you're afraid of being hurt, don't put too much weight into it. Be there for whatever you can get out of it. At least that's how I'm feeling about it. I'm there for whatever I can get out of the show that I enjoy. And if something changes canon in a slight way, I'm not really going to put too much weight to it, I guess.
I mean, we can't control anything that they make. You know, it is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be, and we're going to call it like we see it. You know, and but we're going to do it in a friendly way. We're not going to we've never made fun of people or attacked people because of their opinion about. We're talking about entertainment, ladies and gentlemen, that we love. You know, we've got people telling us that why don't you guys just quit making Star Wars videos?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, huh? We're a Star Wars channel, but they're wanting us to do it because they agree with all the problems. They look, it's Disney. They're doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You got to quit making Star Wars videos. And we're like, dude, quit paying for Disney Plus, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, we're going to review the shows because we love the IP. We might not like where it sits right now, this moment. We will always have a hope that Star Wars will be great.
Yeah. I think I said in my last stream with Master Paul, like, I'm never going to give up on Star Wars. You can't take my love for the franchise away from me. I can be not as excited for future projects.
Right.
And I mean, I'm probably still going to watch them. I'm not paying for Disney Plus. I have my own morality to stick to. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to watch whatever they put out. If it has something to do with Star Wars, it's just hopefully they can keep up a streak of me being interested and excited to watch them.
You said excitement about the future. I mean, when I read the very first Vanity Fair article that went over everything, I was super excited, man.
There's a lot of stuff that's come out in those articles and some from some of the interviews with Hayden and Ewan that have got me real excited and gives me a glimpse of hope. X-Wing did a great video on this a couple days ago about one of the articles that came out that gave him so much hope, in that Ewan and Hayden know those characters so well, and they gave direction. No, this character wouldn't do it this way. Trust me, the fans know these characters. We have to do it this way. And that alone gives me a ton of hope for this series specifically. So I'll never give up on Star Wars. I'll always hold out hope. There's always hope. Rebellions are built on hope. I just hope that I can keep up the excitement. I hope they don't let that down. Borg Porg, haven't seen you before, but that is a sweet thumbnail, little icon, and a cool name. I love it. That. Here's a sip for you.
I wish I was going to Celebration, bud.
Same.
I really do. Next time it's in Orlando, I will be there.
Yeah, I was really bummed I couldn't make ICCC. I was really
we
bummed.
had so much fun.
Yeah, I was really bummed. It was my daughter's first birthday.
Oh, okay.
And family reunion, and I had no way of making it over there.
Well,
it didn't work out.
It was the first annual meetup. So we're going to do it again next year. And, it may not fall in the same exact weekend either.
Right.
So maybe there's a chance.
Yeah. Normally I could get the weekend off, or I don't work weekends, but so I'd be able to make time, but I just couldn't make it work this year.
Yeah.
Dengar Renegade, still such a sick name. I can't get into the idea Leia might get captured, and that's why Obi-Wan leaves. She's 10 years old. Yeah, there's a lot of little things that I at first would be like, I can't get behind that. That doesn't make sense to me. Um, for example, the Anakin or slash Vader Obi-Wan fight happening in person in real life, that didn't make sense to me. And then Master Paul said the other day, what if they're meeting, he doesn't know that the being that he's fighting is Vader, is Anakin. We don't know if word's gotten around the galaxy at this time that, oh, this person that you see in this picture is Vader. Like we know he knows Anakin is Vader, but does he know that what Vader looks like or that he's still alive? Like,
Right.
how much do we know in the Disney canon?
Nick and I had a great I'm not going to say heated, but semi-animated debate in our last live stream talking about this. And that's the thing about the Force is the storytellers can make the Force do whatever they want.
Right.
Like, you could say, well, Obi-Wan knows because he reached out through the Force and the Force let him know, or he had a Force vision or whatever. But that works the other way too. It's like, well, if Obi-Wan knows that that's Vader through the Force, then how did nobody ever find Yoda? Or how did nobody ever find Ben Kenobi? Or whatever, or Luke, or the storytellers can use that however they want to.
Right.
And
there's ways around that, like the explanation of Yoda was on Dagobah next to a dark side Force nexus, and that's why it masks his signature, and maybe Obi-Wan cuts himself somewhat off from the Force.
Which used to be canon, but no longer is.
Right.
But
and the way that Master Paul was putting their fight in person, how it could work, and one thing he actually said that I think is actually pretty beautiful is if they fight, at first he doesn't know that it's Vader. He just thinks it's, the Emperor's assassin, like top assassin. They fight, and then halfway through the fight, he realizes that it's Anakin in the same way that Ahsoka does in that one Rebels episode where she finds out it's Anakin, and then she says, I won't leave you, not this time. What if Obi-Wan kind of mirrors that and says, like, I can't fight you. I don't want to hurt you anymore. Like, look what you've become. Right. And
so Deborah Chow came out with an interview just a couple days ago, and she talked about Obi-Wan is going to learn in this show that Vader is Anakin. Now she already knows Vader. He already knows Vader is Anakin. I'm saying the man in the suit.
Right.
He's going to learn the man in the suit is Anakin.
Right.
And I can't wait for that moment. I think it's going to be awesome. A lot of people are hung up on them fighting again and things like that. I think I'm okay with it. I got to see it. But I'm excited about it. It gives meaning to that line in Jedi. Obi-Wan once thought as you do.
That's what Master Paul said the other night.
Yeah. And no one's ever really, I've never heard a great explanation for that comment.
Right.
And then also didn't try to bring Anakin back on Mustafar.
Right.
When did he say, come back to the good side, Annie?
Right.
He never said no. They pulled their lightsabers out and they fought.
Right. It was also he's more machine than man now. Like, how did he know that?
Exactly. How
did he know that? And it gives a whole new meaning to the look on his face. A young Jedi Knight named Darth Vader. Yeah. He betrayed and murdered your father. Like, they give so much weight to those lines. They could totally work out. There's ways that they could do it. Now it's just a question of, are they going to do it in the way that we appreciate?
So, and here's the thing. Star Wars is kind of a double-edged sword because for people like us that love it, that know it, we can have these conversations. We can have these thoughts and feelings. but because of its familiarity, because of its part of our DNA makeup, people have such ownership of it, and
Hmm.
now we're getting to the point where people are getting offended. I just said something you disagree with. Now you're mad at me.
Right.
What? What are we doing?
They take it personally because these characters almost feel like family.
Yeah. And
This
it's
is
like,
our
no,
this is our emotional space. You don't touch this. As much as we want to live in that space and get a show about those characters, we don't want them to mess with it.
yeah. And again, that goes back to, we're talking about entertainment, science fiction, fantasy. That's what's happening in the real world. And now it's crossed over into our entertainment and fantasy,
Right.
and it's like people are closed off, closed minded. Nobody can say I was wrong. There's no more discourse, and that's
Hmm.
something that Nick and I have always tried to have and be proponents of. Nick and I don't agree on everything. Nick and I have many different perspectives and thoughts, and he comes at you with the hard line and I kind of soften it up a little bit. I mean, that's what we do,
Right.
but geez, like I just can't wait for the episode to get here, my buddy here,
Yeah.
and uh I can't wait for it to get here.
That looks
And
so good.
oh, yeah, it's beautiful. He's got a little stain right here on his shirt, but I got to see if I can get that off. But otherwise, he's fabulous.
Well, I've got well, first off, hello Mandalorian. Good to see you.
What up?
Yeah. I've got another theory that a buddy at church, who's also a subscriber to this channel, um, talked to me about a couple days ago, and it had to do with the Reva leaks. I'm sure you've heard of that. How she decides not to kill Owen,
Yeah.
Beru, and Luke, and then goes back to Vader, and she's the hero of the story. He said, "What if that leak is only partially true? What if she is about to strike them down, but Obi-Wan redeems her to the light side in some form of closure between him and Anakin? At least he was able to turn someone back to the light side, and he redeems himself emotionally and is who turns her back to the light side, and then Vader strikes her down." What do you think about that?
So I I think that that's kind of the way that it's set up. Uh, the leak reports that she has her lightsaber blade ignited and she's about to strike Luke down. And Obi-Wan shows up and begs her, "Don't do this."
Mm-hmm.
And she like listens to his voice and she starts remembering
Right.
growing up. She starts remembering being in the Jedi Temple and things like that. And then she chose not to do it.
Right.
So Obi-Wan obviously in that scenario is going to have somewhat of an impact. But you know how people translate things.
Of course.
They go overboard. They take Kenobi, they remove Kenobi from the equation. And they go, "Nope. See, he's not even the hero, guys." And it's
Yeah.
like, now there's a lot of people that are members and family at Echo Base that think that. I'm not trying to crap on their opinions. I'm just
Right.
saying that's one side of it. And we don't know until it gets there. But just because Reva shows up with an ignited lightsaber blade, and if Obi-Wan Kenobi influences her to not do that, I might be okay with that.
Right.
That might
And
not
and
bother
it
me
has
so
to do
much.
with the emotions and character development. If there's no emotion, no character development, it's just her by herself there with the lightsaber. Obi-Wan stands in the doorway, she deactivates it and walks off.
Yeah,
Like that's lame. If she has
right.
this intense struggle and Obi-Wan Kenobi is pleading with her, like, please don't make the same mistake my Padawan did. I've already
Mm.
failed one Jedi. And they make it about the emotions of not just the character Reva doing this choice, but also Obi-Wan in the failure of letting his Padawan fall down this dark path.
Right.
It could be amazing. Emotions first. Well, for me, world building is first above everything. For me personally, then the emotional story, then the character development, and then like the characters themselves.
Mhm.
Because action's not memorable. Individual characters by themselves are not memorable. It's the character development, the emotions behind it, how we attach ourselves to those characters. That's what sticks with people and makes the biggest impact. Um, he says, "I just don't want it to suck." That's pretty much what a lot of people. Just don't be bad, please. You have an opportunity, as I think it was Cobra Disney Jedi last week said, you guys have the bases loaded, the ball's in your court. You have the opportunity to hit a home run. Don't swing and a miss. Just
Yeah,
don't.
I agree.
Wouldn't Luke get PTSD from seeing a lightsaber in A New Hope? I don't think he would get PTSD just from seeing a lightsaber. He's a Jedi. It's, you know, weapons are part of his religion, so to speak. That's the lightsaber is part of him. Like, this weapon used your life. So I don't think just seeing a lightsaber would trigger anything
Well,
like that.
and I think what Cobra Disney Jedi is getting at too there is that, you know, people are interpreting the scene in A New Hope as Luke had never seen a lightsaber before. Now,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't say he had never seen a lightsaber before. Obi-Wan just said, "This is your father's lightsaber," and Obi-Wan treats it like he had never
Oh,
seen a lightsaber.
the question says Luke. I thought it said Obi-Wan. Never
Yeah,
mind. I get what you're saying though.
but and that's a valid point. How are they going to do that? You know, it was Obi-Wan there. Well, Obi-Wan knows Luke saw a lightsaber. It was about 9 years ago.
Right.
I mean, uh, but I could play devil's advocate with those people, and I could say, okay, well, this is Obi-Wan Kenobi giving the lightsaber that was his father's to him and giving him the historical significance of said weapon to make it not such a threat.
Mm-hmm.
Because he knows that that lightsaber was a dangerous thing when it
Right.
was in his face when Reva did it. Now he's making it okay. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So you could play it either way.
Yeah. It well, that makes it a big deal when you talk about the gravity of handing that over. This was your father's lightsaber,
Hmm.
and at that point, he doesn't know his dad is Vader. Of course, all he knows is his dad was, you know, I think he just got told by Obi-Wan at that point that he fought in the Clone Wars. He was the best starfighter in the galaxy.
Yeah.
Here's his lightsaber.
And people to get so hung up on, and I understand, I'm not being critical here, I'm really not, but a lot of people really look hard for continuity errors.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the problem. Star Wars is such a big galaxy. We're pretty much at the point where if they do anything, they're going to have errors. We're going to
Right.
find something. We're going to find something that doesn't work. No, the Millennium Falcon had 6 exhaust ports, not 8. I mean,
Yeah.
we're going to find something. Nope. Black Chrysanthemum in the comic books had a string of gray hair on his right side. I mean,
Right.
there's always going to be something.
The Grand Inquisitor now he looks like a Humpty Dumpty
Ah,
egg-headed.
well, Nick killed that.
Speaking of,
Yeah.
good to see you in the chat.
Get
You're
out of
welcome
here,
to
you bum.
pop in here if you want.
Yeah, get out of here, you bum.
I don't know if you want to join in. You're more than welcome to. Let me know in the chat and I'll send you the link. Or Coach can. I don't know. He says my personal opinion for the show is after the Book of Boba Fett is that the show has to be great. Anything less is a failure. I mean, you got Ewan and Hayden coming back. Mediocrity should not be an option.
I agree with that.
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
Absolutely.
And I said it earlier today, and I'll say it again. And Nick's heard me say it 100 times. You're talking about two of the pillars of Star Wars in those two characters.
Mm-hmm.
They have to treat this, very carefully.
Right. Well, and the majority of the people watching the show, I would imagine, are people that grew up with the prequels. It's going to be people between my age and your age
Mhm.
that are going to be the ones watching this series as it comes out every week.
Hey, wait a minute. What are you saying?
In that age range.
Uh,
Hey, you only lost by one stroke, mind you. Don't forget.
I'm going to tell you a secret. I've never told you this. We tied.
I know that as well. I counted back as I was editing the video. I was trying to do the little subtitles, or the little numbers.
Yeah.
I knew at
I
the same
watched
time.
it one day and I'll go, wait a minute. We tied.
Everyone, for the record, we tied. I tied it up with an ace.
You did?
So really you won.
No, it was a tie. It was a tie. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So was I complaining about my shoulder hurting then?
I think so.
I was because about
Mhm.
so I had frozen shoulder, and it continued to get worse and worse and worse.
Mhm.
And I didn't play for 6 months. I'm just now getting
Right.
back to
Well,
where I can play
make
again.
sure you're stretching before and after.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
all I can say.
Yeah.
Make sure. I have quite a few injuries that I didn't heal properly, and I'm paying for them
Yeah, I hear
in
you.
ibuprofen. I shouldn't have to do that at 26.
Yeah, for
But-
real.
All right. Let's see. Phil McCracken says Obi-Wan didn't have PTSD at the end of the Sith, and for sure didn't have it in Rebels, and for sure in New Hope. Yeah. Let's be clear. Many have fought in wars and seen done things yet never experienced PTSD. It's true. If anyone's going to not have PTSD, it's going to be Obi-Wan. As cool as that video is.
You know,
However
the
many
thing
millions of
is,
plays it has.
I mean, that's one thing that I'm going to be interested to see, because Obi-Wan was one of the greatest Jedi Knights. You know,
Mhm.
when Star Wars was originally written, Lucas is on record saying this. Obi-Wan was the greatest Jedi
Right.
Knight. And then for the sequel, he had to make one better. And that's when he
Mhm.
created Yoda.
Right.
You know, so we're talking about a master, somebody who has beyond mastered being devoid of attachments.
Mhm.
And it can turn to the dark side. I killed him. It sucked. And now I move on.
Yep.
That's literally the character.
You don't see him grieving at the end of Revenge of the Sith.
Nope.
And he doesn't even say, "You're my brother, I love you. You were my brother, I loved you."
It's over
He
already.
looks away, takes
He
his
did not
lightsaber and
try to
goes.
save Vader.
And you see that shot of him sitting in the ship where, and it's not sadness of losing Anakin as much as it is getting down on himself for failing Anakin.
I think yeah, I like that. I like how you interpret that. I think in that moment when he's on the ship and he's like that, he's like, think about the Clone Wars just ended. You just lost it all.
Yep.
You just lost the whole everything your entire career with the Jedi has been about. You just lost.
Yep.
And it was your Padawan that led to the demise.
Yep.
That basically ultimately killed y'all. You know,
Yeah.
that's heavy. That's go ahead.
That's what I was saying. You know, I've said the last couple weeks, what I want out of this show is show me the emotional baggage that both characters are carrying. Show me Anakin struggling to come back up to the surface, but Vader smushing him down and keeping him locked inside that shell. And then on contrasting that, show me Obi-Wan dealing with the guilt, not the attachment part of it, because we already kind of went through that, but the guilt of you were the prime Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were the Jedi, emblematic of the Jedi Order. Pick one Jedi to represent the Jedi Order, it's Obi-Wan. You failed your Padawan. You failed the entire galaxy. You failed the entire light side of the Force. Like, show me the struggle he's dealing with that. Show me Qui-Gon speaking to him in voice or in person, if they can make that work, and trying to help him through that. Because if anyone would be able to help someone emotionally through that, it would be Qui-Gon.
Right.
I'd like, show me that. Show me the emotion that they're dealing with. And then all the, Grand Inquisitor, Reva, Child Luke, Leia, whatever else, like, have that be second. That's what I want out of the show. Obi-Wan does have attachments, I would argue. Yes, I believe he does. But he never acted upon them.
Yeah, like what are they? Like
Satine.
Okay. True. but he did.
Although some
But
people
it's
could argue that
exactly
Corky
what you
was
just
the
said.
result
He
of
didn't
that.
act upon it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if he didn't act upon it, is it really an attachment?
Right. Well, you can have feelings, I guess, as a Jedi, but it's forming attachments
Yeah.
that's forbidden.
I'm gonna have to disagree with Actus Nero, respectively. That's why Anakin was even trained. That's I disagree with that. Like that's part of the order. They take on a student learner.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an attachment. When Padawans would die, Jedi would be like, "Psh, "Give me another one."
Mm-hmm.
Like we see that in the Clone Wars. Padawans would
Right.
be killed. Some of the Jedi treated their Padawans like they were nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I I don't. You
And,
know,
and really, the only reason he took him on was because Qui-Gon's last wish was he is the chosen one. He must be trained. Even if Qui-Gon was like, please train him, but didn't believe he was the chosen one, I don't know if he would have taken him on.
yeah,
It was out of respect to his master and to his master's wishes. And also, and especially if you read Master and Apprentice with the whole prophecy and the time of the glowing Kyber crystal, or the Kyber that is not Kyber, I think it was, if you've read that book. Like it
I
was
have
time for
not.
the chosen one prophecy. Actually, it's a really good one, Master and Apprentice. It's Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan in like a couple years before Phantom Menace, and explores how Obi-Wan started as a Padawan, how their relationship grew. It's a really good book that leads right into Phantom Menace. It's really good. I think there's an audio drama on Audible of it. He said to Satine that he would have left the Jedi for her, but he didn't. Did he?
Yeah, so that was one of the problems that's one of the things that I did not like about the Clone Wars series. Seeing that side of Obi-Wan, no one had ever seen anything like that. That was something that was new to us. So yeah, that's fine. We could use that. Uh, he had some kind of attachment to her. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't mean he's attached to everything or anything else.
Yeah, but again, it wasn't like a secret love like Anakin had.
Right. I'm not
That
trying to
he,
say that Obi-Wan's never been attached to anything ever. See, this is what I'm talking about. It's an interesting debate. It's an interesting conversation. We just have to be, mindful that we're talking about a make believe world.
right, and then even contrast that one instance of, okay, say he was attached to Satine, right? Contrast that with the corruption and the hypocrisy of the entire rest of the Jedi Order. Because there was stuff going on with everyone, and not just in relationships, but just how they operated that was not in line with the light side of the Force. It was part of their really rigorous, structured Jedi Order that was corrupt. And who was it that pointed out? Was it Palpatine that pointed out in one of the books how corrupt the Jedi Order was? I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know, but going back to that thing about attachments, it was Qui-Gon who was the rebel Jedi that had the attachments. Obi-Wan was always seen prior to Satine in the Clone Wars as the prototype Jedi that followed all the rules, and and whoever said it in the chat was right. He did not want to take. Actually, it wasn't a thing where he didn't want to take Anakin to train him. He didn't want Qui-Gon to take him to train him.
Right.
That's what he had a problem with.
Why do I get the feeling we've picked up another pathetic life form?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. One must remember that the Jedi Temple was built on top of the Sith Shrine. That's true as well. And actually, I think I just remembered it was Bane, Darth Bane,
Uncle Phil,
that said, in the future, you'll have Jedi taking children when they're infants from their parents to train them up into the light side of the Force to boost their numbers or something like that. Like Darth Bane predicted that the Jedi would take kids if they were force sensitive as children and rip them away from their family, just the same way that the ancient Sith did.
Right.
Wasn't Qui-Gon more of a gray Jedi? Apparently, gray Jedi, the term doesn't exist anymore. But I mean, if you want to argue that, yeah, I'm not gonna go against anyone that argues that he was. He was, in my opinion, what a Jedi should be: loving, caring, willing to step aside the rigorous bounds of the Jedi Order to do what is right instead of what is correct in the eyes of the Jedi. So if that makes him a great Jedi, then sure. One might say we are encouraged to love. I believe he was. Yeah, and based on, I guess, the old definition of a gray Jedi, then he would be, definitely. He didn't follow the Jedi code to a T like Obi-Wan did, in practice,
Right.
at least.
Right.
But I guess there's anything else on the subject of Kenobi that you want to go over? Anything else that's standing out? We kind of talked about the backlash from other fans. We talked about what we want out of the show.
Well, just, just by looking at even at our conversation and in the chat, and I see it all the time over on our channel. I'm just I don't know if we're ever going to get Star Wars again where the majority of us feel a certain way. Like it seems like it's
Right.
always going to be very polar with Star Wars at this point. And everybody's got their own take or perspective that they think, well, this is how it has to be, so it has to be this way. And if
Right.
it's not this way, then I'm not for it. And they don't leave any room for the creatives to do things. If we see an Obi-Wan with some attachments going on, that doesn't mean I'm not going to be a fan of it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. That's
especially
kind of just the theme, is wait and see.
Yeah, especially considering he, as far as we know, that he is turned off with the Force. He's not practicing. He's just an old man. He's just a hermit at this point.
Right.
So it'll
Watch
be
the child is his only directive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's back to what you were saying about you don't think there's going to be ever a point where we all agree. Obviously, we're not all going to agree on anything ever, but the majority agreeing, I don't know about that either, because you have people, not to call anyone out, but some channels that are hoping for Kenobi to fail, that are hoping for all these shows to fail, not just for the clickbait and the content and poking fun at Disney and saying how terrible they are, because we all like to do that every now and then, I guess. But they want these shows to fail, and so they're going to put the spotlight on all the bad, even if there is good in the shows.
That's true.
Which I think Book of Boba Fett got a lot of. I really liked the Book of Boba Fett as a whole. I definitely understand the criticisms. The finale was weird. The scooters were too bright, like all that other stuff. But I think that all the negatives about that show were shouted from the rooftops from so many channels that made much more of an impact in the eyes of people on social media than the people that were like, you know what, I really like that show. I think they did a good thing with the characters. So I think it's going to be very hard for Lucasfilm to ever achieve a majority positive. And the best we can hope for is no damage to existing characters and a story that satisfies most people, I guess.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's going to be too much to ask. Again, I'm really excited for it, but I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see.
We're going to know soon.
I know, a couple more days. More days. I'm really looking forward to it, but
people are going to be going crazy and losing their minds. Like it's going to, despite your opinion, you know.
Which is kind of going back to, I'm going to limit who I watch when those come out, because it honestly probably would be better if they dropped these shows all at once and let people watch them all on their own time as quick as they want to. But I feel like there's going to be a lot of voices saying a lot of different things, and it's going to be easy to
Yeah.
get caught up and all that.
You know what's funny about it is like Nick and I, when we watched that first episode of Boba Fett, you remember, you loved it. We thought it was not good.
Right.
So
Well,
we came
I
out.
think the second one was the one that got you all the trouble.
I don't remember.
I think it was chapter 2 that had the dancing and the branches wrapped around him.
Yeah.
I loved that episode. I really did.
Well, early on in the process, whether it was episode 1 or 2,
Mhm.
I don't know. But I want to say it was the first episode. Like we gave a negative review of the first episode.
Mhm.
We were so. I think you might be right. It sounds like I'm talking about 2.
I think it was
We were
2 because your
so
thumbnail.
sure that the majority of Star Wars fans were going to agree with it. It never even dawned on us. Because, yeah, thanks, Nick. Because it was shocking to us. It never even entered our minds that anybody would disagree because we thought it
Right.
was so obvious.
Right.
And then for the first time, me and Nick were like, I feel like we're in the minority here. That just happened. It was such a crazy time.
Yeah, and I told you from the beginning. I loved the chapter 2. I went on hoping everyone would agree with me. And the first thing I think is this is not good, or whatever your thumbnail
That
said
was
in
it.
giant letters.
That was
And
it.
it was that, and I almost felt offended until I realized, like, what am I doing? They can think what they want.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I get it. I totally get it.
I stuck up for you. I'll always stick up for you guys.
Well, I appreciate that. And we try to do it out of we tried to at least explain why we said what we said, and I thought we did that pretty well, but people were just they weren't going to take it. Those comments. I spent 2 days at work. I'm ashamed to tell you. I spent 2 days at work just giving the kids busy work. And all I did was sit there and reply to comments. Like literally all day long. Blah, blah, blah.
Hope people don't go soft on Kenobi if the show is mediocre. They did it for the first 2 episodes of Boba Fett. If the show isn't great, it's a shame. Well, people are not going to go easy on Kenobi. I'll tell you that much. There's no way if it's not good, people are not going to scream as loud as they can.
Yeah, I remember when me and Nick first started watching. After that Fallout video, the next one, Nick goes, right when it first started, Nick goes, "Oh God, please be good." I laughed the whole episode thinking about that. No, don't just be good for Star Wars' sake.
Yeah.
Please be good for our sake.
Please, Robert Rodriguez, spare our lives.
Yeah, because we're confined to telling the truth.
Right.
We're going to tell you how we feel.
Well, that's a whole lot better of a position to be in than blowing with the winds of the critics and saying what people want. I can't imagine being fake enough to go against how you actually initially feel.
A lot of these people, you kind of alluded to it already. A lot of these people, they're playing a part. They're speaking things that they know that their audience wants them to say.
Right.
And that's it.
Well, they're closing themselves off from any kind of enjoyment they could get from it. I did that with the sequel trilogy. I did not like Force Awakens from the very first opening scene with Poe on his knees and so what, you talk first, I talk first. From that moment, it set me off on disliking, and I had no room in my heart to enjoy anything. Now looking back with the Matt Cave edit, there's things that I do like, but I close myself off from that. And if you're in that space of negativity, you will not enjoy it at all.
I said it multiple times. I thought The Force Awakens was the 4th best Star Wars movie I had ever seen.
At the time?
At the time. And obviously, the effect of the movies that came after it destroyed that. I had issues with that movie, but the major thing for me was seeing Luke at the end of it. That was such a great moment for me that oh, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And all he's doing is standing there, not saying a word.
Yeah.
But yes, he's back.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah. But in my experience, that's what I did is I closed myself off from any kind of enjoyment and I only focused on the negative. And of course, negativity gets clicks and likes and subscribers, and people want to
oh
see how bad things
man,
fail.
negativity gets clicks as opposed to positivity is
We could
100 is
both
to 1.
blow our channels up overnight if we wanted to.
Oh yeah, if I come out with if my thumbnail says Kenobi failure,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get 20,000 views on that video and get cussed out left and right.
Right. I don't know. I'm really hoping for the best, and I'm gonna be genuine in how I react and review. And for everyone watching, I'm gonna do reaction live stream talking about it and a hello to Scoundrels Cantina. It is very late, early for you. What are you doing up? But good to see you. So I'm gonna be genuine. I really hope I like it, and I'm gonna really try to focus on picking out the good and kind of addressing, but largely ignoring any negatives that I have, because I want to be positive about this. I want to have a fun time. And if it's really egregiously bad, I'll call it out. So you can count on me to be genuine. So, well, everyone, I really appreciate you all coming here tonight. Everyone from Echo-Based Networks, neck of the woods. Thank you very much for coming on over. It's good to see a lot of
something that I bought.
familiar faces. Oh, please do.
I have a disc golf online store, so
Mhm.
like when I buy plastic, that's why I bagged Discmania for so long,
Mhm.
and eventually started bagging Discraft because I got it at a discount. I'm
Mhm.
paying half price or 40%. Well, Discmania is too slow to get their molds back out. Like I
Mm.
can't get a bag. I don't like this craft plastic. So I splurged the other day and I moved over to Innova. And I bought my
That's a
very
real pretty
first
one.
I've bought my very first Halo S-line Halo plastic from Innova. This is the
That's
best
really
feeling
nice looking.
plastic I have ever felt. It is so grippy and stiff. I haven't
I
even
can
thrown this
tell
yet.
just by looking at it.
Yeah, it is gorgeous.
That's a pretty mold.
So
I
this
like
was
that.
a $25 disc. I've never bought a $25 disc for me to throw.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I bought a $25 disc, it was for me to sell for 50.
I used to buy $40 discs to throw regularly. There was
Yeah.
one point where 75% or more of my bag were either prototypes or first runs. I like the special stuff.
I get it. So now I got a bunch of team stamped infinite disc stuff. This
Nice.
is basically a destroyer. But yeah, I can't wait to get out and start throwing this new stuff.
I had a turn before. It was a star turn. It was
I've got
114 grams.
Oh my gosh. I
It
bet
was
that
a
was a roller.
114 turn. I could throw it on such a steep hyzer and it would just flip up.
Hey,
And if I
listen.
got it right, it would glide. That's such a nice heartbeat. I just got to come down to your area and well, we got to play. Before you told me your shoulder is getting better, I was almost going to pitch you the idea of I'll come down and we'll both play lefty. And we'll see who wins.
You'll win because I won't be able to do crap.
It would be funny though.
No, it will not be funny. That will be terrible. What we need to do is we need to go to a bigger course around here and play one of those like courses that has like par 4s and 5s.
Yes. Yeah,
that'll be fun. Which you throw a
You
little further than I do, but
I can still
be
hit
fun.
I can still hit 475 on a good day. I don't know about
Yeah.
500 anymore, but at least 450.
I'm like 400-ish if
that you can do pretty much anything with 400.
Yeah, I'm good.
There's not many courses that you're going to be hurting if you can't pass 450.
Yep.
But anyway, everyone, thank you very much for stopping by tonight. We're going to end it here. We are hyped for Kenobi, but a little cautious still.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, bro. I've really enjoyed this. We've been missing
Absolutely.
you. So
Yeah. Well, you're always welcome in my area, and I'll be happy to come over and talk to you anytime you want me
all
over.
right. Sounds good.
All right, everyone. Thank you very much for stopping by. If you've been here from the very beginning, I really appreciate your time. May the stash be with you, and I will see you wherever I happen to see you in the galaxy.
Nick loves